कालीकूर्च समायुक्त माया कूटोपदेशतः प्रणवार्थ प्रबोधिन्यौ नमामि गुरुपादिके श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः श्री मात्रे नमः नमः सदसे. Good evening to one and all. Today I was supposed to speak on one of the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, and I chose one of the hardest sutras to crack, and I took the notes, I prepared the thesis and everything. However, unfortunately, I forgot to upload it to my Google Drive and bring it home. However, I will be speaking on that sutra tomorrow, along with the explanation of what are suddhis and how are they handled in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra on tomorrow. And today, I want to speak about the cult process. This is also something that has been requested by many of you, asking like how does the process of coming out of the cult work, and what can we do to get people out, and what can we do with people once they are out. These are the various questions that have been posted to me online and with those who I spoke to. First of all, I would like to thank the survivors community of Nithyananda Dhyanapita to have contacted me, to have been open with me, and to have allowed me inside your problems, even personal problems, some of you. I am very, very thankful for that. And I am doing what I can to help, even though I have only limited time and resources. And from what has happened so far, I feel I have been beneficial, and you have been highly beneficial for me because you validate what I am doing. Thank you so much. So, there are certain challenges, inhibitors, and healing processes involved in coming out of a cult, and we are going to discuss that too. And a cult can be successful only if it completely changes your attitudes, your priorities, and your behavior. And this is the ideal situation. But as you may know, no situation in this world is ideal. Therefore, there is no ideal cult convert in any of you. There is nobody called a 100% cult convert, 100% cult fanatic in any of you. Even the hardcore disciples who are like all the way through, they are also not 100% converts or 100% fanatical without even an inkling of doubt. Because you need to understand that even in the case of faith in God, which is a common human trait, there is always a small iota of doubt. Similarly, for atheists, there is a small iota of doubt on their own beliefs. So if that is the case for a belief or a disbelief that you have groomed all through your life, for a belief that you have groomed all through your life, if that is the case, then you need to imagine, I'm sorry for the interruption, then you need to imagine what is the situation of something that has been created artificially in you, which is a one-man worship. So if the worship of the natural deity or the belief in some supernatural power itself will have one small iota of doubt, how much ever devoted you are, how much ever religious you are, then you need to imagine about being indoctrinated into a situation on believing a human being who is just like you. So there are various degrees to cult behavior, there are various degrees to cult conformity, and there are various degrees to the healing process and the amount of effort that takes to come out as well. Now, one very important aspect or one very important utility that is required for people to come out of a cult is a network of survivors. And I think you are doing fairly good, and I really appreciate it. And I'll explain why this is needed, because if you are not actively in the group of survivors, or if you are not actively not networking with other survivors, Please do this because this will help you a lot. And the reason is that you have been used to conformity inside the cult. That is the mantra of any cult, conformity. Like, wearing the same dress, eating the same food. Many people have spoken a lot of things about this. But conformity is the name of the game inside the cult. So when you are inside, you always conform with others. But when you are outside, you are alone. When you come outside, you are alone. And you will start longing for conformity. And cult survivors, or those who are exiting the cult, if they are left alone with absolutely no other contact, they might even go back inside. This has happened. So what we need to see here is, once you come out, you need to network with other people who have come out as well, in order to confirm with them, in order to see that what you are doing is correct, and in order to assert to yourselves that you are not in a wrong situation, but you are right now in a good situation. So if you are not networking with with the group of survivors for whatever reason it might be, please do so. And do not and one more thing here, the past circle of other cult members who are okay. And one more thing you need to understand is, any cult, any organization which is using people is more afraid of anything than a group forming outside of the people who have gone away from them or from them. That is, court cases they can legally face, financial loss they can somehow make up by conning many other people. But a network of survivors means support system for those who are going out, protecting those who are going out from the abuse of the cult, protecting one another from the abuse of the cult at various levels, and sharing various resources like legal resources, financial resources, and most importantly, love, affection, and friendship. So when these things are being shared outside the organization is terribly afraid and terribly affected about the survivors group. And also, whatever else happens, they can make up. But if awareness is created in the public, that is a very big problem for them. So, if you are not networking, you have to network with the survivors groups outside, whatever group it might be. I think there are 2 or 3 movements going on, but if it becomes one, I will be very, very happy. So based on this, in the international community or in the local community inside India, wherever you are, if you have survived the Nithyananda cult, whatever might be the amount of damage that you have faced, please go and network, please go and speak to others. And believe me, none of these networks will reject you, will ridicule you, or will look at you as an enemy, because they have gone through the same thing. And whomever I have spoken to amongst those groups, they are very, very beautiful people, highly sympathizing, and they are longing for these kinds of networking because they understand without this network how they are suffering. So they are looking out to help more people, and it is not much. And let me tell you, the survivors network outside and the cult inside, if you look at the amount of work, the amount of time, and the amount of effort needed, it is almost nothing outside. So you don't have to worry about things like, am I going and joining another group wherein they will be taking my time? Nothing like that. If you need them, they are there. That is the nature of the cult survivors, especially of this cult, and they are not aggressive. They may sound aggressive, but they are not aggressive by nature. And that is one of the reasons why they came out. And they do not require ego trips either. I've been able to decipher all of these things in the past month when many people were speaking to me post to my videos. Now, another thing here is, even if I'm speaking about all these things, there is no ideal situation in the world. So I also need to insist on one important thing to the group of survivors who are networking together, which is a beautiful thing to do. I know I am an outsider, and this is not an advice or anything like that. This is just my observation, and I am sharing that observation with you. And the observation is this: do not expect your co-survivors to act like you do. Please understand this. For example, you may be blasting the cult very openly. You may be coming out and making statements. You may be posting on Facebook, Twitter, whatnot, or you may even be posting videos directly. Or if you are an important enough member of the cult, you might even be speaking to the media if you have that kind of information. I'm not pointing anybody in general. Okay, this is just a general example. So, if you are doing all of those things, it does not mean every other survivor has to do this. I see this tendency stating that this person is very silent, they are not declaring, that person is not declaring, they are still in touch with the Sangha. All of these things I am hearing. So, one general, common piece of knowledge, wisdom that you need to have is that each person is different. And in fact, you may be very extroverted by nature, okay, and for some of the others you may be very very introverted by nature. But another thing that I hear is that that person actually used to be very extroverted inside the cult. Now that person has become very very domicile, like that person is so submissive right now. They are not even we do not even know if it is the same person. That means the amount of damage is that much. The amount of damage is that much, and they are feeling guilty about their extrovertedness, which probably was created by the cult when they went inside. So this is the whole point here. The point is, it does not mean that person is a coward, or it does not mean he or she is still supporting the cult. For some of you, that is for those who are introverts, since this silence is the healing process. For those who are natural introverts, who have been introverts inside the cult as well, being silent is the healing process. For extroverts, who are by nature extroverts, it could be your speaking out is your healing process. So you need to understand this. And there are no rules here. And also, there are varying levels of belief and disbelief on various concepts amongst you. The only thing that you agree to is that the organization has harmed you and you do not want that harm to continue anymore. That is the only thing that all of you are in agreement with. Other than that, starting from the financial worth of the organization all the way till like which particular individual inside the organization is the most dangerous individual, or even things like whether it is completely psychological or whether it is completely black magic. So all of these things, or whether black magic is involved or not at all involved, or whether a person reacting in a particular way to a particular abuse by the cult is correct or not, all these differences of opinions are there. And please allow these difference of opinions, because we are dealing with people who have been harmed as well, just like you. I'm sorry. So, if you are in the healing process, they are also in the healing process. The mode of healing differs from person to person, and please allow those differences. And please do not think that one person, since they are not speaking out or since they are not openly declaring, it means they are not supporting the group. Everybody is doing what they can. That is what I can see. To their maximum extent, everybody is doing what they can. And one more thing, I am not involved with the Sangha, and none of you know me personally. But right from the top level involved people to the lowest level of involvement, right from the maximum harm to the least harm, right from people who have lost hell a lot of money to only a little bit of money, everybody is open to me. I must thank you for that. I must thank you for that, because of one simple reason: you have been victims of trust, and you still are trusting me, which is something that I have to make myself more deserving towards by putting in more efforts for you. So, that being said, let us look at the process of involvement and the process of coming out and the process of healing and what are the various inhibitors here. There are five different levels of involvement in a cult. The first one is a sympathizer. Second one is external followers, outside followers attending low level classes, and then outside followers attending high level classes, and then active members who are recruiting others for attending classes outside, and finally full time volunteers. So now the thing is, as far as sympathizers are concerned, they are people who listen to his videos and who are the prospective pool of candidates for recruiting for the cult. And then we have the external people, outside people who are attending low level classes. They will not know about the cult and they will not know about the inner workings of the organization or about the leader or anything about them. So whatever information they are getting from the outside world and whatever information they are getting in their classes, that is all they are getting. So, and then there are people who do high level classes from outside. That is, these are the ones who got convinced inside the low level classes that there is something more to this organization than what is being projected in the media. So this kind of convincing usually happens by looking at other people who are outside. So in a way, if you are living outside the cult premises and if you have attended outside classes, you will remember that you are the first person who will give the testimony rather than the teacher, rather than the people who are inside. You will be more preferable to give testimonies. I am only making a conjecture here. Please confirm to me if this is true or not. In any given class, the normal volunteers who are from outside are asked to give testimony more than the people who are wearing kavi and other things. So, because it is like a person like me who is giving the testimony wearing a normal pant and a shirt or wearing a normal sari or a chudidar or whatever, giving a testimony rather than a person who is core inside the cult giving the testimony. That is the difference, and I will be able to resonate with that person more, the ordinary person more, than a person who is already looking like he belongs to that organization. So once this happens, this low level classes, the student of these low level classes, they become the students of high level classes. And usually, and in this case specifically, high level classes are financial commitments. So they have to be constantly convinced. And I think this organization does it in a very aggressive mode, and that is fine. So I think it is called as causing, if I'm not wrong. So causing, you are asked to do causing by bringing more people into the organization and by making them attend high level classes. So that is the thing that is happening here. So once that happens, you will be given positions of power, positions of honor, to ask questions to other volunteers like you, to guide them, like area coordinators or allowing the teachers or the acharyas to stay at your home, or allowing healing sessions to happen at your home, having a center at your home, or having live satsangs going on in your home. So all of these things, or even helping the sannyasis to travel around. So all of these things, you are slowly getting more and more indoctrinated because you are allowing them inside your personal space, and they become like family members, especially here in India, and for also non-residential Indians. This is a factor. That is, if somebody is coming to your home and spending time at your home, they become a part of your family. That is the natural tendency that we have, because we have this Aditi Deva Bhava, and Niti actively used this in one of his videos. He stated having an Aditi is a very great thing, and it is being told that if that person is of no harm or potential harm to you or to your wealth, then you have to allow them, and that in itself is a great spiritual experience. He was saying all of these things when he started to get established in the United States, because he wanted place to stay. He wanted place to stay for himself and for his sannyasis and for his acharyas. So what is happening here is he is creating that foundation by saying this. Similarly, this tendency is also there naturally in our hearts, so we will be allowing them to stay in our homes, and we will be allowing spending our time and energy towards more and more this thing, more and more involvement. So once this happens, we ourselves will be doing high level classes, and we are currently connected to the organization, and now full time volunteers. That is the next level. If you are more useful to them by running a business or by being in a highly paid job, then they will prefer you to do that. But in this particular organization, they are giving sannyasa like they are giving popcorn. Come on, team up fitness. Comment about popcorn today as well. Okay. So, and you owe me a lot of popcorn. So that being said, this popcorn, I'm sorry, this cult is actually in an active practice of giving sannyasa left, right, and center to everybody, because they are thinking that by giving this particular thing called so-called sannyasa, they are owning you, because your attire is changing, your practices are changing, your behavior is changing, and naturally, now that you are a sannyasi without outside without much of materialistic requirement, you will be doing a lot more of the practices. But they have no practices other than watching videos, and other than thinking about Nithyananda, and other than thinking about other than doing all these activities that are related to the sangha, to expand the sangha more. Now you might have heard this story of a lion cub who is being brought up as a sheep. So, a female lion, a lioness, she came and she gave birth to a cub, a male cub, and in a place where the sheep are kept. She came there, she gave birth by some accident, and she passed away, or she moved away, whatever. So, this cub is living amongst the sheep. It is eating grass, it is bleating, and it is growing up like sheep. It does not know that it is a lion by itself. Now a mature lion from the forest is coming, and it is attacking this herd. So the sheep are running, the lion is also the this lion cub is also running. Now the lion saw this, and it was unable to understand why is this lion cub running. So it left all the sheep, it even forgot its lunch, and it started chasing this lion cub. And the lion cub thought, I am going to be the lunch today, and it ran for its life, because inside it's a sheep. According to its knowledge, it is a sheep. So finally, this lion cub was cornered, and then the lion said, why are you running away from me? It said, no, no, you are a lion, I am a sheep, you will eat me. So immediately the lion started laughing, and it said, you idiot, you are a lion like me. It did not agree, it did not believe. So the lion took him to a pond and showed the reflection inside the pond. It saw that, and it said, I think so, but still I don't know, you are doing some trick to eat me. The lion said, okay, you know what is the identity of a lion? Roaring. So the lion roared. This lion, the cub which thought it was a sheep, was shivering. Now the lion said, try roaring. The lion was bleating first. The cub was bleating first. So this lion gave one tight slap and said, roar. Do not bleat. Roar. Again, little bit of roaring. After that, little bit more. After that, finally, when the lion cub roared, it understood that it was a lion. This is the common story which is narrated by so many people. This is a very old Eastern tale. We do not know the source of this tale. Swami Vivekananda has narrated this as well. The lion cub is the disciple who is thinking that he is just the body and the mind, and he is bleating. He is doing only the activities of the body and the mind. The guru is the realized lion. He is coming and he is giving guidance. And by guidance, he is doing two things. In Guru is the ultimate term. Gukarasya antakarasya, rukarasya tat vishantakaha. Meaning, Gu is darkness and Ru is removal or destruction. So a guru's ultimate aim is to destroy the darkness. Now amongst the gurus there are two categories, deshikas and acharyas. Deshika means the person who shows you the direction. Acharya means the person who is living like that. Acharanti, meaning the person who is living that and he is showing you. So, of these two things, the first thing, and one more thing, a guru has to do both of the processes. That is, he has to show you a glimpse of the ultimate, glimpse of the beyond. And then that is like showing your face, your own real identity in the pond. And even then you will be having a lot of doubts. Is this a trick? Is this a magic? Or has he hypnotized me? All of these possibilities are there. And throughout your stay, this is the stage in which you are. Even if for the sake of the argument you are saying whatever experiences you had during all the classes is true, but still you have only seen the reflection and you have not started roaring. You must start roaring, which means you must do sadhana. If you are not allowed sadhana, then it means till the end of your stay, you are dependent on the guru. You are dependent on the guru for realization. If you have to have realization, then the guru has to give some energy to you. That is the dependency. Now, you need to understand this very clearly. In our tradition, if you want to become a guru in any sampradaya, any tradition, any kind of a pathway, you will be at least 40 or 50 years old before that can happen. There are exceptions to this case who are born divine. Ramana, Adishankara, Jnana Sambandha. There are people like this, but that is the exception and not the rule. So you consciously start your spiritual practice by the time of your, after your puberty has set in, and then you continue with your practices. You adhere to what your guru is saying, and finally you will be able to become yourself a guru by understanding all the nitty-gritties of the tradition of the path in which you are in. So once this happens, you will already be like 40 or 50 years old. So by this time, even 60 years old, that is a common demographic from what I can see. So after your retirement, so you'll be able to dedicate full time to this as well, and you'll be able to reach out, and students will come to you, disciples will come to you, you'll be able to teach them. But there is no guarantee that by the time they are getting enlightenment, you are alive. So no guru in this tradition, no true guru in this tradition will ever ask you to be dependent on them. Being dependent on them for grace, being dependent on them for guidance is different. But being dependent on them for energy is something that is against everything that is there in this culture. But inside this particular cult, that is the core of their philosophy. Whatever is happening because of Sami's energy. So you need to understand why they are saying this. Whether it happens or it does not happen is subjective. And if you take and if you decipher everything, you can come at both arguments, you can come out on both sides. That is fine. I am not going to argue that today. But my point is, you are not supposed to believe in one person, be dependent on one person for liberation. This is the biggest irony that they are creating. You have to be self-sufficient in your practices. For getting the next practice, for keeping you more dedicated in your practice, for making sure that you are not deviating. That is the work of the guru. But here, this person is actively dissuading you from the practice. He is actively saying, do not practice. And I heard that the whole community is ridiculing practice. Terrible. This is terrible for a spiritual organization. They are making fun of people who are doing sadhana. There could be nothing worse than this. Because the whole purpose that you went there is this. And I heard from one person that when they went there for a short term of stay, they had some other sadhana which they regularly do. And when during the class, during the entry level classes, they were told that They specifically asked for this. They asked whether I can continue this sadhana along with your sadhana. They said we will allow anything and everything, like that. Okay, so if somebody is not allowing you to do other sadhanas, then that is the culprit. Then that means their sadhana is not good. This statement is one statement that they make in the ASP class itself, which I have heard myself personally. So they made all these statements, and when this person came, he saw the atmosphere and he understood that he will not be able to do his sadhana. And he finally ended up doing his own sadhana in the toilet inside the ashram. Now, please tell me, if you are smoking inside the toilet in an ashram, it is acceptable, because that is something which you cannot do inside the ashram. But if you have to do your sadhana inside the toilet, then what kind of an organization is that? So they are actively dissuading you from doing this, from doing your practices, because of two reasons. Your practices will empower you, and if you are and whatever the guru is telling, if it does not go right, if it is not correct, if the sadhana prescribed is not correct, then you can question the guru, and he has to modify it, or he has to find out where you went wrong. All these are highly technical processes. For example, in my upasana, my guruji will know exactly which akshara I am making a mistake in, and I am not allowed, like any other mantra upasaka, to utter the mantra outside. I cannot even say it back to him. I cannot even say it back to him. Please understand this. But he will say, yesterday you missed out on this particular bija, you pronounced this wrongly. He will tell me when I am speaking to him. So that amount of precision, that amount of ability, and that amount of knowledge and practice, sadhana himself, okay, all of these things are completely absent with Nithyananda, and that is the reason why he does not want you to do sadhana. Because tomorrow, if you are doing sadhana and if you are coming back and asking him what you are doing is correct, then what he can do? Because he himself does not know if that is right or not. So he is just referring to some books, and he is simply vomiting in every satsang. Whatever new practice is being brought in, I am 100% sure that he has not practiced it. Because if he has not practiced it himself, I mean, because if he had practiced it himself, he will not be making the stupid mistakes that he is making when he is teaching those practices to you. Okay, now, so this kind of an atmosphere is there. Now, there will be a spark of doubt and then incrimination, self-incrimination. These are the first two steps of coming out of a cult. All of you would have experienced this. By looking at something, or since the practices are not giving you the effect, or by looking at somebody else who got affected, or by looking at the social commentary on the cult, whatever might be the case, there will be a small seed of doubt, a spark which is inside you. So that spark, you will immediately put it out. Nobody goes like, you tell me, if anybody of you, like on the very first doubt, you decided, no, this is not the thing for me, and you came out. Is anybody there like that? I don't think so. I don't think so. So what happened, I am just sharing this because I want to make sure that you understand what has happened and that is correct. And for those whom it is happening right now, I want you to know that this is how it will work out and this is how it will go. And I will also give you some warnings on certain steps for those who are undergoing this currently. And for those who are thinking about this will be useful as well. Now, in a cult, what usually happens is the spark of doubt is being sown. And if you share this doubt with somebody else, they will immediately ridicule you like anything for doubting the master. So, in the subconscious, this will happen. So, you will not share this doubt. You will keep it inside you. But one spark, two sparks, three sparks, and you will find out at a point of time that the cult is failing at everything it is promising. So, you will understand you are in the wrong place. At this point of time, you will decide to come out. And by the time you decide to come out, you will see others who are halfway through the process like you, or who are also wanting to come out. but the secret nature of the cult and the reporting or the tattle telling that goes on. Okay, so the tattletale nature, the tattletale culture that has been developed inside the cult, and everybody is trying to gain some kind of conformity from the master, some kind of appreciation from the master. So all of these things are there. So you will still be isolated, but there will be a point of time when you decide to come out, and you will come out, and you will disconnect. So when you disconnect, there should be cushion outside for you, cushion in your home, cushion in your family, and cushion in your friend circle, and also the biggest cushion that you are having outside to fall back on is the survivors network. So make sure that you are utilizing it, and make sure that when they come in, you are absolutely accepting. I am really thankful for that. So please continue with that practice. So that being said, we will end it for the day. I apologize sincerely that I was not able to speak on Patanjali Yoga Sutra today, but tomorrow I will bring back my notes, and I will make sure that I am starting with one of the toughest sutras that no master will be able to explain very easily without the help of Nyaya Shastra. So that is my forte, and a shout out to Janardhan Mama here, and he knows why. So tomorrow you are going to get Nano Antakarasya Rasamadravyatvam. Thank you. Racham Yora Vrinimahe Gatum Yajnaya Khatum Yajnapataye Daivi Swastirastunaha Swastir Manushetyaha Urdhvam Jigadu Veshayam Channo Astu Dupate Sanchatushpate Aum Shanti Shanti Shanti.